Hi.
Bonjour.
And you're watching BBC World, our main headlines. The world's worst industrial accident is being remembered in India today. It's 20 years since deadly gas leaked from the Union Carbide chemical plant in the city of Bhopal. At least 18,000 deaths are attributed to the leak, and many local people say the contamination has never been properly cleared up.
Yeah. Should I typically just look right into the camera? Okay.
The factory still exists here, and that's been a real problem for the people living here locally. I mean, the site, I've been to it, and it's full of toxic waste. People who are living in these houses, they've all got a story to tell about that day 20 years ago. Many of them lost members of their family, and they say that they're continuing to suffer because of the tragedy. And they're saying somebody needs to answer for this. Legally, what they're saying is that they want to pursue the company to try and clean up the site, but whether the company will accept liability seems doubtful.
Well, joining us live from Paris now is Jude Finisterra. He's a spokesman for Dow Chemicals, which took over Union Carbide. Good morning to you. A day of commemoration in Bhopal. Do you now accept responsibility for what happened?
Steve, yes. Today is a great day for all of us at Dow, and I think for millions of people around the world as well. It's 20 years since the disaster, and today I'm very, very happy to announce that for the first time Dow is accepting full responsibility for the Bhopal catastrophe. We have a $12 billion plan to finally, at long last, fully compensate the victims, including the 120,000 who may need medical care for their entire lives, and to fully and swiftly remediate the Bhopal plant site. Now, when we acquired Union Carbide 3 years ago, we knew what we were getting, and it's worth $12 billion. $12 billion. We have resolved to liquidate Union Carbide, this nightmare for the world and this headache for Dow, and use the $12 billion to adequately compensate the victims.
Jude, that's good news that you have finally accepted responsibility. Some people would say too late. It's 3 years,
Yes.
almost 4 years on.
When we acquired Union Carbide, we did settle their liabilities in the United States immediately, and we are now, 3 years later, prepared to do the same in India. We should have done it 3 years ago. We are doing it now. And I would also like to say that this is no small matter, Steve. This is the first time in history that a publicly owned company of anything near the size of Dow has performed an action which is significantly against its bottom line simply because it's the right thing to do. And our shareholders may take a bit of a hit, Steve, but I think that if they're anything like me, they will be ecstatic to be part of such a historic occasion of doing right by those that we've wronged.
Just to reiterate what Jude Finisterra, the spokesman for Dow Chemicals, has just said, he says Dow Chemicals now fully accept responsibility for the events in Bhopal.
Great. That's it?
Well done.
Great. Now they wanted
Now you do
radio. I can tell you one thing. We're not going out of business. We will continue to make profit. We will simply make slightly less profit than normal. But we are doing the right thing. We're comparing here, though, the value of money to the value of human life, and there is no comparison.
It's a good thing to announce. For once, it's good.
Exactly. I mean, how often does Dow get to, you know? It wouldn't be, I wouldn't want to be a Dow spokesperson otherwise. Good. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm gonna have a serious nervous breakdown now.
Dow accepts responsibility for Bhopal, .. spokesman. Where is that? In Reuters.
Congratulations, your appearance. Everyone here at BBC cheered. It's over now and it's still headline news. Hello, this is Jude. Who has said that? Perhaps they're not in communication with the Dow leadership. Hello? Yes, this is Jude Finisterra. Sure. Right. Sure. Right. Let me just, yes, could I ask you to hold for a moment? Okay, thank you. They know. Yeah. So now, I guess I just basically come clean, right? Well, I wouldn't say it's a hoax. It's an honest representation of what Dow should be doing.
This morning, a false statement was carried by BBC World regarding responsibility for the Bhopal tragedy. The individual who made this statement identified himself as a Dow spokesperson named Jude Finestra. Dow confirms that there was no basis whatsoever for this report.
Well, earlier today, we carried an interview with someone purporting to be from Dow Chemical, a company which subsequently bought the plant from Union Carbide. This interview was inaccurate and part of an elaborate deception.
Take a look at this, Dow. Look at this. This is the top of Google News. Dow said on Friday there was no basis whatsoever in a BBC World report saying it had accepted responsibility for India's Bhopal disaster. That's a funny sentence.
The hoax was an elaborate one involving a fake website.
Dow Chemicals was quick to issue a series of statements denying all knowledge of Jude Finisterra.
Also tonight, backtracking because of this man.
We're going back to the BBC television studio right now that we were at this morning. They want to talk to us. Thought, well, okay, what do they want to know? Well, okay, what do they want to know? Well, let's go see.
So your real name is Andy, right?
Yeah. Hello.
When did I have a look?
No, sorry.
When did it occur to you to pull this off?
It didn't occur to us at all. We got contacted by you guys.
You also have the Dell's share price.
Yeah, I did hear that. Has it
0.5%
gone back up? Or?
Well, the prank, which briefly knocked 3% off Dow shares, comes 20 years to the day after the chemical leak from the Union Carbide plant in Bhopal.
Today's unlikely corporate humiliation of a US chemical giant was all about reminding the world that Bhopal remains an unhealed sore.
Well, earlier I spoke to Andy Bickelbaum and I asked him what he did when he got an email from the BBC asking him for an interview.
Essentially, Dow has been promulgating a hoax by which they've convinced people that they can't do anything about Bhopal, that they cannot accept responsibility. And we wanted to prove that that was not accurate.
I mean, it is nevertheless a pretty cruel trick to play on the people of Bhopal.
Well,
did you think about the people of Bhopal when you decided to peddle this stunt?
Yes, we did. And
well, that surely is the tragedy of today. You spring upon them the actual hoax that they actually suddenly believe that they have got a payout from Dow, and then, you know, an hour or two later they find it's untrue.
Let's put this in contrast. I mean, we may have given two people 2 hours of false hope. Dow has given them 20 years of suffering. I mean,
this is
what we're faced
expecting
with.
the next knock at the door to be Dow's lawyer?
No idea what Dow will do.
Dow's lawyers didn't call, and millions of people learned for the first time that 20 years on, Bhopal was never cleaned up. But the media also reported that many of the victims in Bhopal cried tears of joy upon hearing the news, and were then bitterly disappointed. Had we actually upset the people we'd meant to help? There was only one way to find out.
Here we are, we're in India. Hey! And this is Bhopal. Bhopal is a big city. There's over 1 million people here. Unfortunately, we heard from a lot of news reports that the victims here in Bhopal were extremely upset because we had raised false hopes about them actually getting some compensation after 21 years. What do you think they'll do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's the local custom here? I mean...